Hello everyone, my name is David and today's topic is questions for more interesting conversations. So today we will be looking at some ways to make a conversation more interesting and more fun. Because usually when you meet someone from overseas or from another culture, you tend to have a deep conversation. And if you have a boring conversation with only yes or no questions, we're going to get to that later. The conversation may get boring, and that person may not get interested in you. So when you meet someone from another culture, you should take into consideration some steps to have an interesting conversation, such as avoiding yes or no questions. So you totally have to avoid those type of questions, yes or no, those questions that are answered with a yes or no. For example, do you like music? Yes. Do you like cake? No. Usually when you're making yes or no conversation, it feels more like an interview instead of like a conversation. So you should totally avoid that. What you should do in order to have an interesting conversation? Well, you should use W5. And what is that? Right, so I'm gonna teach you what is W5. W5 are the questions that starts with the letter W, such as who, when, where, why, and what. Who refers to people. For example, who were you with? When refers to time. When did it happen? Well, it happened in October 2011. Where did it happen? Where refers to the location. It happened somewhere in the middle of Australia. Why? It means, well, it refers to the reason. Why did it happen? Well, it happened just because they wanted to. And what refers to the thing. What did they use? Well, they used a hammer to fix the door. So now we're going to see some other advices or some other tips that you should make use of in order to have an interesting conversation. Tips that I'm going to give you in order to have a more interesting conversation is to be clear in what you're asking and to be clear in the topic you're talking about. Also to make follow-up questions. Well, what is a follow-up question? A follow-up question is the question you can ask related to the same topic, or right after the answer that person gives you, you can ask another question right away, and that's the follow-up questions. The question that make you keep going, keep the conversation going. So for example, I'm going to give you, well, now I'm going to give you an example. Usually when you meet people from another, someone from overseas, someone from another country or another place, people tell you not to talk about religion or politics because those are like heavy topics. So usually people tell you to avoid those topics when you're just meeting a new person, but I wouldn't agree with that. If you want to talk about religion, you can do so, but you have to be careful with the questions you make. You can talk about religion if you make the right questions. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to give you an example. Do you believe in God? Well, that sounds a little bit rude. And that's a yes or no question, which is a boring question. And it will lead to a boring conversation. Do you believe in God? Yes, no. But if you answer that in another way, for example, are you a person of faith? Are you a person of faith? Well, that can be answered with a deeper answer. That question can be answered with a deeper answer. Yes, such as, yes, I believe in God. I believe in Allah. I'm part of this religion. I believe in this course, or etc. etc. The next question. Now, do you celebrate Christmas? That's an interesting question. If you meet someone from overseas, from another culture, from another country, you can ask about it, about their celebrations. So do you celebrate Christmas? It's a yes or no answer, which is a boring answer. I'm sorry, a question. It's a boring question with a boring answer. So how can you ask that in order to have a more interesting conversation? Well, you can ask, how do you celebrate Christmas? And the answer could be, well, we celebrate it in this way. And then you can keep the conversation going with a follow-up question. Like, why is that? Why do you do that? And the person will answer you with a longer answer, and the conversation will be more interesting. This is the end of the video. Thanks a lot for watching my lesson, and Emily, thanks a lot for the class. Thanks a lot for everything you did for us during this semester. And well, this is my final project, and I'll see you soon. Bye.